Hi, everybody. How are you? Says I'm live. Good afternoon. Good afternoon from the Island Free Library on Block Island. I am Kristen. I am the director of the library, and I bring you Frankenstein Tea every day, daily program for adult listeners, short story for adult listeners. Hi to my dad. Just saw him log on. Hi to everybody else. Who else is logging on? I can never tell if that's my mom. She's a pretty good, faithful listener, but she doesn't use the chat. So, Mom, if that's always you out there, hello. And Judy Mitchell, did you just log on? Jeepers creepers. Judy Mitchell worked me so hard today. I want this on the record. Judy Mitchell worked me hard. We just did... we just did about a year's worth of work in 4.5 hours. We just plugged along. I'm lucky she let us stop for lunch. We are starting to compile numbers for an annual report that we provide to the state of Rhode Island and then gets passed along to other entities as sort of looking at cumulatively at the work that we did this past year, the fiscal year of July 1st to June 30th. So it's from last July to this June. And this year, of course, is a little kooky, right? Because we were shelter in place from March 13th on, I think. So there's different numbers to compile. Our other coworker, Morgan Rose, worked on some numbers. And then Judy and I just blazed ahead and looked at numbers and stats. Excel. She plugged them into the Excel. I took them out of the list a running list that we keep, a handwritten list. And about every 3-4 minutes, I said, Judy, we have to have a better system next year. And she said, keep going. And then I'd say, Judy, we have to have a better system next year. And she said, keep going. Anyway, we did it. We did that section of it. We didn't do the whole annual report. That will take me still a few more weeks to compile. But we did all the program numbers for the past year. Well, up until March. Morgan did March onward, the virtual program numbers. So I'm wiped out. I said, Judy, I got to stop. I got to go find something to read. She said, keep going. Oh, jeepers creepers. Okay. So here I am, a little exhausted, a little bit out of my mind, a little squirrely from numbers, all those things, with one more sip of water. Yike. That's how I am today. How's everybody else? And we sort of, we open tonight, Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. The library's open for outdoor library hours, but we set the tables up and the chairs, and we put the book sale out, and we put some other town information out. We put some resources out for people. And we didn't know if we should do that, if it wasn't the day to do that, if there was rain coming, if there wasn't rain coming. She tells me there's still rain coming. We have things out there. I don't know. I don't know what's happening out here as far as weather. I can't tell. Can anybody tell? Is anybody we're having, gray sky, blue sky, sunshine. No rain yet. A little bit of a drizzle, but not much. So, I'm going to read a story, and then we're going to see how the rest of the day goes. I'm going to read something from Ray Bradbury today. These are 100 of Bradbury's most celebrated tales. This book is called Bradbury Stories. It's copyright 2003. HarperCollins. The Ray Bradbury story I am going to read today, and I'm going to read it cold because, Judy Mitchell didn't give me any time to do anything today. I'm going to read something called The Seashell. He wanted to get out and run, bounding over hedges, kicking tin cans down the alley, shouting at all the windows for the gang to come and play. The sun was up and the day was bright, and here he was, swaddled with bedclothes, sweating and scowling, and not liking it at all. Johnny Bishop sat up in bed, sniffling. Orange juice, cough medicine, and the perfume of his mother, lately gone from the room, hung in a shaft of sunlight that struck down to heat his toes. The entire lower half of the patchwork quilt was a circus banner of red, green, purple, and blue. It practically yelled color into his eyes. Johnny fidgeted. I want to go out, he complained softly. Darn it, darn it. A fly buzzed, bumping again and again at the window pane with a dry staccato of its transparent wings. Johnny looked at it, understanding how it wanted out too. He coughed a few times and decided that was not the cough of a decrepit old man, but a youngster of 11 years who, next week this time, would be loose again to filch apples from the orchard trees or bean teacher with spitballs. He heard the trot of crisp footsteps in the freshly polished hall. The door opened, and Mother was there. Young man, she said, what are you doing sitting up in bed? Lie down. I feel better already, honest. The doctor said 2 more days. 2? Consternation was the order of the moment. Do I have to be sick that long? Mom laughed. Well, not sick, but in bed anyway. She spanked his left cheek very lightly. Want some more orange juice? With or without medicine? Medicine? I know you. You put medicine in my orange juice just so I can't taste it, but I taste it anyway. This time, no medicine. What's that in your hand? Oh, this? Mother held out a round, gleaming object. Johnny took it. It was hard and shiny and pretty. Dr. Hull dropped by a few minutes ago and left it. He thought you might have fun with it. Johnny looked palely dubious. His small hands brushed the slick surface. How could I have fun with it? I don't even know what it is. Mother's smile was better than sunshine. It's a shell from the sea, Johnny. Dr. Hull picked it up on the Pacific shore last year when he was out there. Hey, that's all right. What kind of shell is it? Oh, I don't know. Some form of sea life probably lived in it once, a long time ago. Johnny's brows went up. Lived in this? Made it a home? Yes. Ah, really? She adjusted it in his hand. If you don't believe me, listen for yourself, young man. Put this end here against your ear. Like this? He raised the shell to his small pink ear and pressed it tight. Now what do I do? Mother smiled. Now, if you're very quiet and listen closely, you'll hear something very, very familiar. Johnny listened. His ear opened imperceptibly, like a small flower opening, waiting. A titanic wave came in on a rocky shore and smashed itself down. The sea! Cried Johnny Bishop. Oh, Mom, the ocean, the waves, the sea. Wave after wave came in on that distant, craggy shore. Johnny closed his eyes tight black, and a smile folded his small face exactly in half. Wave after pounding wave roared in his small, pinkly alert ear. Yes, Johnny, said Mother, the sea. It was late afternoon. Johnny lay back on his pillow, cradling the seashell in his small hands, smiling and looking out the large window just to the right side of the bed. He had a good view of the vacant lot across the street. The kids were scuttling around over there like a cluster of indignant beetles, each one complaining. Ah, I shot you dead first. Now I get you first. Ah, you don't play fair. I won't play unless I can be captain. Their voices seemed so far away, lazy, drifting on a tide of sun. The sunlight was just like deep yellow, lambent water lapping at the summer full tide. Slow, languorous, warm, lazy. The whole world was over its head in that tide, and everything was slowed down. The clock ticked slower. The streetcar came down the avenue in warm metal slow motion. It was almost like seeing a motion film that is losing speed and noise. Everything was softer. Nothing seemed to count as much. He wanted to get out and play, badly. He kept watching the kids climbing the fences, playing softball, roller skating in the warm languor. His head felt heavy, heavy, heavy. His eyelids were window sashes pulling down, down. The seashell lay against his ear. He pressed it close. Pounding, drumming waves broke on a shore, a yellow sand shore, and when the waves went back out, they left foam, like the suds of beer on the sand. The suds broke and vanished like dreams. And more waves came with more foam, and the sand crabs tumbled, salt wet, scuttling brown in the ripples. Cool green water pounding cold on the sand. The very sound of it conjured up visions. The ocean breeze soothed Johnny Bishop's small body. Suddenly, the hot afternoon was no longer hot and depressing. The clock started ticking faster. The streetcars clanged metal quickly. The slowness of the summer world was spanked to crisp life by the pound of waves on an unseen and brilliant beach. This seashell would be a valuable thing in the days to come. Whenever the afternoon stretched long and tiresome, he would press it around the lobe and rim of his ear and vacation on a wind-blown peninsula, far, far off. 4:30, said the clock. Time for medicine, said Mother's exact trot in the gleaming hall. She offered the medicine in a silver spoon. It tasted like, unfortunately, medicine. Johnny made a special kind of bitter face. Then, when the taste was modified by a drink of refrigerated milk, he looked up at the nice, soft, white face of Mom and said, "Can we go to the seashore someday, huh?" "I think we can. Maybe the 4th of July, if your father gets his 2 weeks then. We can drive to the coast in 2 days, stay a week, and come back." Johnny settled himself, his eyes funny. "I've never really seen the ocean, except in movies. It smells different and looks different than Fox Lake, I bet. It's bigger and a heck of a lot better. Gosh, I wish I could go now." "It won't be long. You children are so impatient." "I can't help it." Mother sat down on the bed and held his hand. The things she said he couldn't understand fully, but some of them made sense. If I had to write a philosophy of children, I guess I'd title it Impatience. Impatience with everything in life. You must have things right now, or else tomorrow's so far away and yesterday is nothing. You're a tribe of potential Omar Kaimans. That's what. When you're older, you'll understand what waiting, planning, being patient are attributes of maturity. That is, of being grown up. I don't want to be patient. I don't like being in bed. I want to go to the seashore. And last week it was a catcher's mitt you wanted. Right now. Please, pretty please, you said. Oh gosh, Mom, it's elegant. It's the last one at the store. Mom was very strange, all right. She talked some more. "I remember I saw a doll once when I was a girl. I told my mother about it. said it was the last one for sale. I said I was afraid it would be sold before I could get it. The truth of the matter is there were a dozen others just like it. I couldn't wait. I was impatient too. Johnny shifted on the bed. His eyes widened and got full of blue light. But Mom, I don't want to wait. If I wait too long, I'll be grown up, and then it won't be any fun. That silenced Mother. She just sort of sat there. Her hands tightened. Her eyes got all wet after a while because she was thinking maybe to herself. She closed her eyes, opened them again, and said, "Sometimes I think children know more about living than we do. Sometimes I think you're right, but I don't dare tell you. It isn't according to the rules." "What rules, Mom?" "Civilizations. Enjoy yourself while you're young. Enjoy yourself, Johnny." She said it strong and funny-like. Johnny put the shell to his ear. "Mom, know what I'd like to do? I'd like to be at the seashore right now, running toward the water, holding my nose and yelling, 'Last one in is a double-darned monkey.'" Johnny laughed. The phone rang downstairs. Mother walked to answer it. Johnny lay there, quietly, listening. 2 more days. Johnny tilted his head against the shell and sighed. 2 more whole days. It was dark in his room. Stars were caught in the square glass corrals of the big window. A wind moved the trees. Roller skates rotated, scraping on the cement sidewalks below. Johnny closed his eyes. Downstairs, silverware was being clattered at the dinner table. Mom and Pop were eating. He heard Pop laughing his deep laughter. The waves still came in, over and over, on the shore inside the seashell. And something else. Down where the waves lift, down where the waves play, down where the gulls swoop low on a summer's day. Huh? Johnny listened. His body stiffened. He blinked his eyes. Softly, way off. Stark ocean sky, sunlight on waves. Yo ho, heave ho, my braves. It sounded like 100 voices singing to the creak of oarlocks. Come down to the sea in ships. And then another voice, all by itself, soft against the sound of waves and ocean wind. Come down to the sea, the contortionist sea, where the great tides wrestle and swell. Come down to the salt and the glittering brine on a trail that you'll soon know well. Johnny pulled the shell from his head, stared at it. Do you want to come down to the sea, my lad? Do you want to come down to the sea? Well, take me by the hand, my lad. Just take me by the hand, my lad, and come along with me. Trembling, Johnny clamped the shell to his ear again, sat up in bed, breathing fast. His small heart leaped and hit the wall of his chest. Waves pounded, crashing on a distant shore. Have you ever seen a fine conch shell shaped and shined like a pearl corkscrew? It starts out big and it ends up small, seemingly ending with nothing at all. But aye, lad, it ends where the sea cliffs fall, where the sea cliffs fall to the blue. Johnny's fingers tightened on the circular marks of the shell. That was right. It went around and around and around until you couldn't see it going around anymore. Johnny's lips tightened. What was it Mother had said? Children. The philosophy, what a big word, of children. Impatience. Yes, he was impatient. Why not? His free hand clenched in a tiny hard white fist, pounding against the quilted covers. Johnny! Johnny yanked the shell from his ear, hid it quickly under the sheets, Father was coming down the hall from the stairs. "Hi there, son." "Hi, Dad." Mother and father were fast asleep. It was long after midnight. Very softly, Johnny extracted the precious shell from under the covers and raised it to his ear. Yes, the waves were still there, and far off, the creening of oarlocks, the snap of wind in the stomach of a mainsail, the singing chant of boatmen faintly drifting on a salt sea wind. He held the shell closer and yet closer. Mother's footsteps came along the hall. She turned in at Johnny's room. "Good morning, son. Wake yet?" The bed was empty. There was nothing but sunlight and silence in the room. Sunlight lay abed, like a bright patient with its brilliant head on the pillow. The quilt, a red-blue circus banner, was thrown back. The bed was wrinkled like the face of a pale old man, and it was very empty. Mother looked at it and scowled and stamped her crisp heel. "Darn that little scamp," she cried to nobody. "Gone out to play with those neighbor ruffians, sure as the day I was born. Wait till I catch him. She stopped and smiled. "I'll love that little scamp to death. Children are so impatient." Walking to the bedside, she began brushing, adjusting the quilt into place when her knuckles rapped against a lump in the sheet. Reaching under the quilt, she brought forth a shining object into the sun. She smiled. It was the seashell. She grasped it and, just for fun, lifted it to her ear. Her eyes widened. Her jaw dropped. The room whirled around in a bright swaying merry-go-round of bannered quilts and glassed run. The seashell roared in her ear. Waves thundered on a distant shore. Waves foamed cool on a far-off beach. Then the sound of small feet crunching swiftly in the sand. A high young voice yelling, "Hi, come on, you guys. Last one in is a double-darned monkey." And the sound of a small body diving, splashing into those waves. That was Ray Bradbury's The Seashell, from his book 100 of Bradbury's Most Celebrated Tales by HarperCollins, collected and published in 2003. Yeah, 2003. That was a good treat. I don't know if anybody was logged on in the beginning, but I was, moaning about the rush I was in to get to Frankenstein Tea, because I had been driven hard by my coworker Judy. So that was just to open the book and find one. And you live at the ocean, you're going to pick the seashell one. Oh yeah, it was good, wasn't it, LT? That was good. That was fluky good, and good for my dad too. He loves a sea story. So, and there I was singing. Nothing like Frankenstein Tea when you get me to sing a little. All right, everybody, hang in there. Hang in there. Wear your mask. Keep your wits about you. Wash your hands. Stay safe. Be well. I'll see you tomorrow at 3:00 for another episode. LT, I'll see you later. You're on my list. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.